Oh, Vladimir, it is so good. We are getting our U.S. citizenship today.
Oh, Lynn, and what better way to celebrate it than by watching Great American Hero?
Yes, great American movie about great American hero John
Yes.
Rambo.
Oh, I am so excited to see who he kills in this one.
Right? Would it be the Vietnamese like in number 2?
Or it could be Chinese,
That's possible. The Koreans maybe.
or in big twist, maybe it's Japanese.
That would be weird. Not a lot of places you could do guerrilla warfare in Japan.
But you never know.
That's right. Let's find out, Vlad. 2 for Rambo, please.
A skybox seating.
An hour and a half later.
Vladimir, are we the bad guys?
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Oh, welcome, folks, to What Were They Thinking, a podcast about bad to questionable movies. I am one of your hosts, Nathan, and this week we are talking about the 88 hit, or put an S in front of that, and you know how I really feel about it, pal, Rambo 3. And of course, with me, as always, is the Troutman to my Rambo, Brendan. Introduce yourself, say hello.
America.
Movie really affected you.
I love everything red, white, and blue, baby.
Okay.
Nothing is wrong about America, and I will fight anyone who dares say it.
So, it's gone full Travolta. Yeah. So, okay, I mean, no guests this week, so we can just kind of launch right into this thing, can't we?
Yeah, let's jingoist it up.
All right, well, pitter patter, let's get at her, as they say. As I said, we were talking about the 88 movie Rambo 3, which this series has some weird naming conventions, kind of like the Aliens movies, because the first one's called First Blood.
Yeah.
The second is called Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Right.
This one is Rambo 3. The fourth one is just Rambo.
Yep.
And then the last one was Last Blood.
Rambo Last Blood.
Okay.
No, it was called Rambo Last Blood, right?
Okay, so yeah, even more confusing. This is the kind of stuff they couldn't just go with a straightforward one.
Because I think when the new Rambo came out, it was cool to just call it Rambo, right? Because they were like, nobody's just called it Rambo before, guys.
Well, I think they were originally going to call it John Rambo, and then they just went with Rambo.
And I think when you name something and then put like the number 4 or 5 after it, it automatically has a not so great sound to it.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. But plot. So real quick rundown on the plot here. Colonel Troutman, Rambo's military mentor, goes on a mission in war-torn Afghanistan in the 80s. So that means the Mujahideen are fighting against the Russians. And he gets captured. Rambo comes out of retirement to go in and rescue Troutman. Hilarity ensues.
Now, I have to ask, Nathan, because I've never seen the second one. Does the second one... Yeah, I've never seen the second one.
Oh, wow. Second one is one of my favorites.
Which is probably why I was completely lost in this movie. Didn't know what was going on. There's so many plot threads in the second one that I'm sure tie into this one. Like, who even is Rambo?
Right?
Who was he fighting in the second one?
He was going into Vietnam because they had found out that there were still POWs in POW camps in Vietnam that they had not released.
It's so wild to me how much this series changed since the first movie.
Well, the first movie is supposed to be actually, and the novel in and of it that it's based on is supposed to be much more anti-war.
Oh yeah.
All the way through, and then after they finished the first one and Stallone kind of took over as, I guess, his baby is for a franchise between this and Rocky, and they were just like, let's just shoot as many people as we can.
Yeah, it's almost like, and I know he didn't direct any of the movies, but it's almost like they had like Mike Nichols do the first one and then John Milius take over for the sequels.
There you go. So yeah, the series has taken some twists and some turns, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was. This is the only, like, besides in the original Rambos, this is the only one I've seen besides First Blood, and I think I only saw that movie like 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
But yes, but this is not that that well-made, paced, crafted movie. This is Rambo 3.
Rambo 3, in which it takes, and we'll go over it, I know, but it takes about 45 minutes before we really get like a battle scene.
Right.
Just was surprising in Rambo 3. Like, we know enough by this point. Just give us what they want.
They make up for it in the back end, that's for sure.
I guess so.
Because the last half hour is just straight shooting, isn't it?
Pretty much straight shooting.
Yeah. With so anyways, we don't start out there, as we say. We start out
with an American flag.
Yes, at the U.S. consulate in Thailand. Mm-hmm. And Kurtwood Smith is there for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I really thought he was gonna not only do more, but I thought he was gonna be like one of the villains.
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, you haven't seen part 2, and I'll be more than glad to spoil it for you. One of the guys who's back at HQ, he decides midway through Rambo's mission to rescue these POWs, was to not give support to Rambo and just leave him to rot in Vietnam. Of course, he overcomes the odds, rescues some POWs, and gets back to the base where he has this impassioned speech after he shoots up the office, and he yells at Charles Napier for a really good long time, and he has an emotional back and forth with Troutman, kind of like he did at the end of First Blood, but I don't know, it seemed a little more corny in the second one.
Well, I mean, I think the more emotional Sylvester Stallone gets, the less I understand him.
Right. So yeah, I almost thought that Kurtwood Smith should have been a character like Charles Napier's was in First Blood Part 2.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, this came out the year after RoboCop, so like people recognized him for being the villain in that movie.
It would have been a situation where, they get stranded but then again, they'd be hitting the exact same beat that they hit in Rambo 2, so maybe that's what they were trying to avoid.
That's fair. I think to most people, Kurtwood Smith is not like, oh my God, it's Kurtwood Smith.
Not until after he was Red Foreman.
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe that's just me being like, oh, I like Kurtwood Smith, I hope he's in more, and he's not.
So he's talking to Colonel Troutman about the situation in Afghanistan, where the Russians are trying to push in, and for the most part, the Afghan people are managing to hold their own, except for this one section that is got a pretty brutal guy as its warlord, for the lack of a better term. And they're going to go and try to recruit John Rambo to come out of retirement and help lead this mission so they can defeat this Russian colonel. Now, since you didn't see the second one, Rambo did survive the first one. He went to prison in the second one, so they open up with him in Leavenworth, and they get him out so he can go to Vietnam. And this is the situation: is he got out, but now he's like, we want you to go back, and he's like, no, I just want to chill out with monks and fight people with sticks like, Steve Blackman will someday. Wrestling reference, got it in.
Oh man, I bet you that's what Steve Blackman's doing these days.
Or fighting off raccoons with a stick.
He's also he's also engaging in stick fights so that he can make money so that he can pay and build monasteries.
Well, yeah, because Troutman asks him about it, and he says that he uses it to get a little spending money, and Troutman's like, I saw you give it to the monk.
Well, because we have to make sure that Rambo is like the most virtuous person that ever lived.
He is trying, other than the stick fighting, he is trying to lead the most peaceful life that he possibly can.
Even the stick
build a
fighting,
monastery, hanging out with monks. And even with the stick fighting, he has a Ring of Honor moment at the end.
Another one.
There you go.
But a Ring of Honor early years moment, because I think they got rid of the handshake after a while.
Yeah. So and this is where Troutman lays out to him that they want him to go into Afghanistan, and all I can think of, it's Rambo in the 80s and he's fighting Russians in Afghanistan. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. That's the answer.
Well, not at first, because he says no.
I got all these judges for these monks.
Right.
Guys, get ready. It's a Stallone movie.
We're gonna sound like we had strokes at some point. Troutman does try to convince him with this impassioned speech about with what was it, an analogy to a painter and a stone, a large piece of stone, and he carved a statue out of it, and people complimented on it. He said, it was there, I just had to chip away the rough edges. Well, that's what we did with you, John. You were always this natural killer. We just chipped away the rough edges.
This mission's important, John.
Do you really think we're going to make a difference?
If I didn't, I wouldn't be going.
It didn't before.
That was another time. Come with me, John.
I don't know what you think about this place, but I like it. I like being here. I like working here. I like belonging to something.
You do belong to something, not this. When are you going to come full circle?
What are you talking about?
You said that your war is over. Now, maybe the one out there is, but not the one inside you. I know the reasons you're here, John, but it doesn't work that way. You may try, but you can't get away from what you really are.
What do you think I am?
A full-blooded combat soldier.
Not anymore. I don't want it.
That's too bad, because you're stuck with it. Let me tell you a story, John. There was a sculptor, and he found this stone, a special stone. He dragged it home, and he worked on it for months, until he finally finished. When he was ready, he showed it to his friends, and they said he had created a great statue. And the sculptor said he hadn't created anything. The statue was always there. He just cleared away the small pieces. We didn't make you this fighting machine. We just chipped away the rough edges.
I mean, the guy's trying to get away from a life of killing, and that's how you try to convince him. It's in your genes. Why bother? Quit trying. Don't fight it.
Yeah, just be the killing machine.
You should have been an addictions counselor.
Just smoke it.
Yeah, it's
like
get over. What are you belly aching for?
Like, are you thinking right now that you want to do crack? Well, just fucking smoke the crack.
Yeah.
Like,
and he'd probably be as terrible at that as he is at this, because Troutman, he's going in for the mission. He's going alone and promptly gets captured
immediately. Yeah, because we see him as he's entering the country. And then, yeah, like you said, as soon as he enters the country, everyone else with him, I think, gets shot and killed, and he gets taken.
Yep. With Liam
Neeson. I was just gonna say, because he doesn't have a very particular set of skills.
Right.
One of them involves being captured.
And so Kurtwood Smith goes to Rambo again to plead the case, but this time he's gonna, Troutman's been captured, and Rambo can't get to Afghanistan fast enough. Go ahead.
Kurtwood Smith does say that he's not it's off the books, and that anything he does, if he fucks up, they're not going in to save him. And I really thought at that point he was gonna, at some point, he like, say he didn't say that. I didn't think he was gonna say that. And then at some point Rambo was gonna get stuck and Kurtwood Smith was just gonna like ignore him or something. Like I thought that was gonna be the turn later.
But which is exactly what they did with Charles Napier.
Well, there you go.
So yeah. He goes into Afghanistan and meets a guy who has a very interesting shop where he sells prosthetics and Kalashnikovs.
Why not?
Well, I mean, he does have a valid reason for selling both. He says that there are a lot of landmine fields around that the Russians have put down, and so he sells prosthetic legs for people who unfortunately get maimed in mine explosions. A mime explosion, wouldn't that be great? Just Marcel Marceau doing Man in the Glass boxing, kaboom!
Oh shit, that would make mimes 1,000 times better.
Right. And of course Kalashnikovs, because apparently everybody in the village is also a Mujahideen freedom fighter.
Wait, Nathan, are you saying too that, like, going back to mimes just for a second, are we saying that like every mime act, you just never know when it's gonna happen in the performance? Like it's like at some point he's gonna explode.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that has to be a part of it, but I mean if that's part of the gamble, then yeah.
I mean, that's a selling point for me. If I'm gonna watch a whole mime act, if he's gonna explode at the moment that I least expect, I mean, that's pretty exciting.
There's also
That's
the fact that if you want to make money off it, though, you got to have the possibility that the mime doesn't explode.
Yeah, that's true. You can't have you can't have a WrestleMania match every week.
Right, because then Christmas is every week, as Paul Heyman says.
Yeah. Wow, so much wrestling.
Right? Where are we at? Oh, yes, prosthetics and Kalashnikovs.
He also shows, is this a point where he shows, like, the guy asks him what his, like, blue light thingy is, and Rambo says it's a blue light. He said, what does it do? Turns blue.
Turns blue, yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess the idea is that they're gonna sit down with the local leaders who are, again, as I said, are Mujahideen freedom fighters as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna come up with a plan to go to this Russian fort to break out Troutman. And we get our kind of a bit more of our backstory about it was Colonel Xerxes?
Is that
or
what
Xerxes
it is?
or something like that. It's Colonel Russian.
Yeah.
And he's of course an evil bad guy who likes to torture people and has he just is ruthless. So he has no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
I mean, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he literally had a framed picture of Vladimir Lenin in his like hideout.
Which I think, I mean, it may have been a legitimate thing in the 80s, but I know it was very much a trope in movies then, that anytime a Russian they would have Lenin or even Stalin.
But you can tell that he never actually dated Vladimir Lenin because it wasn't signed.
No, that's true.
So, and for anyone who gets that, congratulations, you listened to our show. But yeah, so they're having the conversation, and they keep cutting. Don't they keep cutting back to? They cut back to Troutman, who's being like interrogated by that Russian dude. And at one point, he says something that's kind of prophetic. That he says, like, you can do as much damage to the Afghan people as you want, but these are a type of people that would rather die than be enslaved, and you can't defeat a people like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, those words still ring kind of true.
And I actually noted this speech fell on so many deaf ears.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody listened or took that as something that's legitimately what those folks are like.
If we had all listened to Richard Crenna, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, if they'd just left the Shah in Iran alone back in I'm not going to get into world history and politics, but
Bill Murray got to sing happy birthday to him on Weekend Update.
All right, so yeah, and we go back, like you said, we go from there, and then we go back to Rambo. He's trying to get in good with the so he can get the help of the Mujahideen to help him with this, and there's he's talking to his guide who tells him this. It was a prayer that they said. And he asked him, "You know what that means?" He's like, "Yeah, you guys don't take any shit." He's like, pretty much, my man.
The prayer was, may God deliver us from the venom of the cobra, the teeth of the tiger, and the vengeance of the Afghan.
Yes, it was the enemy's prayer. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't put up with nothing.
You guys will take care of your own.
I actually wrote down at this point, I was like, I would almost be convinced, like, you know how nowadays if you make a movie and you want to talk shit about China, like, you're not getting a China release, like, at all. I wonder if this almost like comes from an alternate universe where, like, they can't talk shit about Afghanistan because Afghanistan's like the biggest distributor of cinema.
Well, no, in this case, in the real world, they were legitimately friends. Like that, those the U.S. and Afghanistan.
But it just felt like it had that same vibe where it's like, well, they're the heroes and nothing's wrong, nothing's going on here. They're all good, everyone's great.
Great misunderstood people who should have our acceptance and our sympathies and prayers and all that sort of stuff. Fast forward to 15, 20 years later. Yeah. Anyways,
also
we'll get off our soapboxes.
Billions of dollars of weapons and then leave the country.
Oh, well, I mean, but again, let's not get into that. I want to bring folks down when we're talking about this hilarious movie.
Yeah.
They have an interrogation scene because the colonel wants to know where the missiles are. And Troutman tells them they're up his ass. They keep beating him. It's just their kind of excuse to see the torture that he goes through and, what kind of ruthlessness this, warlord is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the wrestling warlord, who was not capable of very much at all.
Well, he relied too much on the barbarian,
right?
And the slickster. But I gotta say at this point, when they're going through the village, I don't know why this made me laugh so much, but Rambo on horseback just looks wrong. He's too big. Like, he's too big. It's just weird.
It's like the horse should be riding on his back.
I think so. It would make more sense to me. Yeah.
He's clearly stronger than the horse. So
I mean, that's an inarguable point.
Right. I have a note here that says "toys as mines." I don't know what the hell that's all about.
I don't know. Maybe just the mines look fake. I don't know.
Okay.
I know that everyone is like giving him the eye as he enters the town, and this guide is like, "Oh, they've never seen someone quite like you." And we even see a couple of the ladies giving him the eye, and I'm like, "Of course, Rambo comes into town, and he's everybody's fucking dream."
He is the force of freedom, after all.
Oh my god, it's almost like he had something to do with the producing. Wait a second.
Did you ever watch the cartoon?
The Rambo cartoon?
Yeah, you didn't know there was a Rambo cartoon?
No.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's called Rambo, the Force of Freedom. And it was him, and he had a couple other folks on his team, and they fought like a worldwide criminal organization, and they were all made up of a mishmash of various ethnicities that did not like America.
Oh my. With Frank Welker as Rambo.
You can look it up. It might be. I don't know.
Oh no,
it wasn't Stallone, that's for sure. But yeah, I saw it as a kid. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Thinking back about it now, it's like, he's a mentally fragile PTSD suffering Vietnam vet who wants to be alone. Let's give him a team. And send him off on special missions where he actually gets to shoot guns, because they had guns in that one. Man, the 80s were wild.
Well, there you go, Nathan. That's the guy who voiced Rambo in the cartoon show.
Oh. We're gonna take a look here. Hey, I'm Rambo.
Just to give you guys some insight, he looks to be, I mean, surely he was younger at the time, but the picture I found of him now, he looks to be like a 55-year-old like Jewish man, maybe.
So he looks like the college professor that, it's on your mom.
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
I'm Rambo. La, 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 la. That's more like Schwarzenegger. Anyway, yeah. So he's talking to the Afghanistan people, and they're saying like, we don't back away from a fight, but like also you need to hear about these crazy Russians and how they stab pregnant women in the bellies and throw their babies into a fire pit.
Because the Russians were the biggest, baddest boogeymen of the 80s.
Yeah, but they don't know culture.
Right.
That's just, you got to make sure people know that.
Yeah, and then as they're having like their kind of walk around and talk around about all this stuff, Rambo is accosted by this village child who is apparently a soldier, who wants all of his stuff.
Also, Rambo doesn't even bat an eye that there's a child soldier.
He fought in Vietnam
I know, but like,
and went
on
back
his-
to Vietnam to rescue POWs. So.
on his side though, like Americans don't normally employ child soldiers.
Well, I mean, if you were to ask Rambo, he didn't have a side. He was there for Troutman.
I thought it was Rambo.
He knows no country, just allegiance to friends.
Just a Rambo car.
Which is like a good, lesson to put into the cartoon, which I'm sure they did several times.
Yeah.
Like, leaving out the I have no country part, I only have loyalty to my friends. In fact, the movie itself, the cartoon itself was very rah-rah patriotic, like unapologetically.
I was going to say, I would love to see how that cartoon ages in 2022.
Oh, not very well. Not very well at all.
Oh, speaking of not aging very well, continue.
Okay, so, yeah, he keeps asking for Rambo for all of his stuff. He's like, be the kid, take off. This is my stuff. And then he's introduced to a game. I think it's called Capture the Goat.
Hey, Nana.
What are they saying?
They want you to try. It's a way to welcome you to be with them. If you want to try, go ahead, but I'm not responsible for it.
I'll try.
Yes?
What are the rules?
Well, you have to take the sheep once around and then throw it in the circle.
Why?
Because there is a circle there.
That's it.
That's it. Very simple.
Like football.
God must love crazy people. Why? He makes so many of them.
So, yeah, I looked it up because I was like, surely, please tell me this exists and they didn't just make it up for the movie. But it's called the Buzkashi.
Mm-hmm.
And I just called it sheep circle because they have to pick up a sheep and then put it in a circle.
Yeah.
And at one point when he's, by the way, he's never played this before, and as soon as he starts playing the game, he fucking kicks everyone's ass and wins the game. First
he grew
time.
up around horses his whole life, as they introduced later in the series.
He also at one point picks up the sheep, and it is like the most obvious stuffed sheep toy ever.
Well, I mean,
I know it's supposed to be like a dead sheep, but at one point he picks it up and it's literally like you could see it's like a stuffed animal. Just like a pillow.
HD sometimes doesn't do these movie favors.
No, not really.
While they're doing this, they're aren't they attacked during this game?
Well, and before that though, they also say that like, I mean, I don't know how he gets them all to agree to help him save one person, first of all.
Because they said they wouldn't help him, and he said, fine, I'll do it on my own. And because of that, because he had such devotion to his friend, I think that won them over, and they're like, you know what, you make a good point.
But then they said...
We will help you. I had to make them Russian because I'm not going to make it to an Afghanistan accent.
That's a good call.
Right.
But they did mention, though, that... I remember they did mention, though, that you could get this Troutman, to go back to America and tell our tales to everyone about, the horrific things the Russians are doing. And I'm like, they know.
Yeah, but
the people that need to know.
If they and I think the idea was that he wants them to go back and tell like the media and to tell everybody, not just the government officials. And Rambo, of course, promises that, so that's just another, feather in the cap of getting them to help him out.
Yeah, but then, like you said, yes, there is a massive attack.
And they kill Yuri. They needed Yuri.
The Russian guy.
Yeah, who was on there, was helping them out, and he gets killed because they basically strafe the playing pitch where they're at, and they've got like just these ginormous assault helicopters against these people who are just playing capture the goat.
Yeah, this helicopter attack, I wrote down, if I could describe it in one word, expensive.
Yeah, right.
Because I think this movie was like the most expensive, like the highest budget movie at the time. It was like,
it?
yeah, it was like $63 million or something, which was like I think that was the biggest budget movie as of 1988. It also made like 189 million. So
Yeah, well, it's a Rambo movie, so
yeah.
the 80s were about, guns in action.
Yeah, this attack is pretty crazy.
But
I thought for a second
do shoot down a helicopter.
What's that?
They do manage to shoot down a helicopter.
Yes.
That was great.
Also, I think like at first I thought the guy doing the shooting was Yuri, and I was like, am I just having like Russian face blindness? Because there's a scene where you see the guy in the helicopter and you see Yuri and you see him shoot him, and I was like, he just what? That's the same guy.
That's the same guy. Not all Russians look alike. You're Russianist.
Yeah, I felt like that meme where Pam from The Office is saying that's the same picture.
That's the same picture. Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, we gotta move now if they're doing this sort of stuff to us. Rambo's sends the kid away because it's not a place for a kid to be at war and stuff like that. And Rambo's like, it's my war now.
Yeah, well, the thing between him and the kid is basically like, go back. No. Kid, no, seriously. Okay, shifty eyes. Like, he doesn't push it that much.
They, and of course, the one of the guys, I think, asked him at some point why he's going to such lengths for one person. And he's like, because Troutman would do it for him.
Would he?
If he did, he'd get captured because Rambo does it successfully and Troutman didn't. I mean,
Troutman is conservatively supposed to be how old? Like in his 50s?
I would have to say probably in his 50s because he was, like I said, I'm pretty sure he's Rambo's military mentor. That's a fun bit of alliteration. So let's see.
He was 62 at the time this movie was made.
So they were at a stretch. They were having him play mid 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it stands to reason because if you think about it, in First Blood, Rambo probably would have been approaching, 30. So it makes sense for his commanding officer to have been about 10 or 15 years older than him.
Yeah. I just mean I don't know how far a 62-year-old man would have done a solo mission against the Soviet army to save Rambo.
Stop, I need my Geritol.
Ooh, let's just take a break. Ooh, oh God.
You guys want a Werther's original? I was gonna save it to open in the middle of a really quiet part of a movie, but I'll give it to you now.
So many hills. Dude, those are just little dunes. Like, are you gonna be okay?
You think we're gonna make the Golden Corral early bird special? We're gonna be old someday. You think we'll make the Golden Corral early bird special?
If we hurry.
Okay.
We gotta hurry, get this episode recorded. Oh no, it's 7 p.m.
Oh, we definitely missed it. That's the late bird special for anybody our age.
We'll line up for tomorrow's.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just like a midnight screening.
All right. So
he goes in to find his buddy.
Yes.
Because he's got the guide with him and the kid, right? Because I think, did we mention that after that attack, everybody else just kind of like, well, fuck this.
Well, yeah, because the kid shows up and Rambo's trying to say, like, I told you to piss off, and I just note that kids are still the same. They never listen.
But everybody else after that attack is like, we're out. Like, we're not helping you. And Rambo does decide to go and by himself. And like I said, I think the guide and the kid are the only two that decide to join him.
Right. We've got a tense moment with the grenade tripwire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was kind of good. He also, I gotta say, why does he only put 10 minutes on that bomb timer? Because Rambo's never been here. He doesn't know the lay of the land. He's going in by himself. He has a
general idea because Yuri gave them the layout of the general layout of the fort.
I do think 10 minutes is pushing it though.
Well, I mean, again, his idea is that get in as close as he can to the holding cells, because Yuri did tell him where the holding cells were, have the bomb go off, and then escape in the confusion.
Oh, fair. The time just seemed low to me. I don't know. I did laugh at when he goes into the prison and there's a bunch of prisoners. Clearly he's just there for Troutman and whatever. But just the POV of prisoners seeing this insane guy just going from cell to cell, being like, Troutman, Colonel.
He comes up to like a poor lady and her daughter who are in prison, and he's like, American. And they point him in the way. He's like, thanks, see ya, have fun in jail.
Yeah, he doesn't rescue them.
Oh, anyhow.
Yeah, nearly an hour into the movie, somebody finally gets stuck in the neck with a knife.
Yes, and all this sneaking around the base, of course, it doesn't go as planned. And it goes from being Rambo 3 to the never-ending ammo. Because I don't see anybody change a clip once, and they conservatively fire 5,000 shots apiece.
I think this movie also held the record at the time for the most amount of on-screen deaths.
And was it topped by RoboCop 2?
It was topped by the other Rambo movie, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, that actually does make sense, because that one is a bloodbath.
That one is that new, not the newest, but the
Rambo.
Last, the one that's just Rambo, like 2006 or 8 or something. That is that is an absolute bloodbath.
Just a meat grinder of a movie. Coming soon?
I mean, we could.
I'll have to check out the ratings first. So yes, the never-ending ammo takes place during this jailbreak, and Rambo doesn't he get shot in the side during this?
He does. He finally gets something happens to him.
Yeah. And no, he doesn't get shot in the side. He gets stuck in the side. He gets stabbed in the side. And because that's going to come up later, because we've got a returning moment from another movie coming up.
Well, before that though, because he doesn't end up breaking Troutman out, right? He has to retreat, and Troutman's still there.
And they have to
at first
go off into the sewers, and he 1,000% has sepsis now because of the open wound on his side.
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna get very sick and die, but they tell Troutman, I think the Russian guy tells Troutman like something about like God can't save you.
Yeah, he's like, who do you think this man is, God?
And he's like,
who is this terrorist? What makes you so valuable to him? This bastard tried to destroy me tonight, but he failed. At sunrise, I will hunt him down and have his skin hanging on the wall.
You don't have to hunt him.
What?
He'll find you.
Are you insane? One man against trained commandos. Who do you think this man is? God.
Oh, God would have mercy. He won't.
Guys, just in case you don't remember, because I know we only mentioned this about 8 minutes ago, but Rambo is the best. He's the strongest. He's the toughest. He's the friendliest. He's the most sincere. He's the sexiest. Like
he was XXX before XXX was XXX.
He really was. But yeah. I think I can understand him more.
Yeah, it's not the slouchy verbiage is not as pronounced.
At least in this movie, he doesn't like disappear into a pile of ladies like in that first one.
Right.
God.
Things I do for my country.
So they managed to escape to a cave. Rambo gives the kid his, as a Muslim, gives the kid his Buddhist necklace. Because he got that necklace from the guide from Rambo 3, who was also kind of a romantic interest in the movie, and she was killed during the movie.
You mean Rambo 2?
Yes, Electric Boogaloo.
I was gonna say the guide is a romantic interest. What cut did I watch?
No, in Rambo 2.
Okay.
So I was like, and when actually I saw this in theaters as a kid, and I legitimately kind of had a problem with this part of the movie. I was like, she died for you, you bastard.
See, and there you go, Nathan. I was just watching this part and I was confused. Didn't understand the significance.
Now this was the scene that I remember seeing this in theaters. This scene stuck with me more than any other scene in the movie. Rambo pushes out the I think it's like an arrow that he got hit with. He pushes the shaft out of the hole. It sounds dirty. And sprinkles gunpowder. Does the old trick from Black Dog where he cauterizes the wound with gunpowder.
I literally wrote down this is where old Patrick Swayze learned it.
This is where Black Dog probably got it from. Yep.
This might have even been worse though, because when he lights that match, it lights his whole arm on fire. like he should have just caught on fire and immediately died.
Right. So now that he's all sealed up and healed up, their next plan is a morning raid for Jailbreak 2.
Electric Rambaloo.
I was gonna say Troutman Boogaloo.
Oh yeah. Rambo Boogaloo, whatever. Yeah. Back in the habit.
Right.
Oh man, imagine just Sylvester Stallone in a movie where he has to go undercover as a nun. Or he goes like his second
Stallone
idea.
and Schwarzenegger in a remake of Nuns on the Run.
Yes, please. or Stallone, like his second idea to break into this to get Troutman out is to go undercover as a nun. It's like, but Rambo, nuns don't normally pass through. I don't know what that's gonna do. He's like, no, trust me, nobody can have a nun.
Oh, great. Of course, all of this confusion, the Russian colonel knows what's going on, and man, Russian swears sound like a lot of fun. Like I might just learn the profanities of that language because it sounds like a lot of fun, and like cathartic too. Like if you were really mad and you started swearing in Russian, I think it would just relieve that much more stress.
Yeah, well, they're all like, the stereotype is that they're all generally pretty angry, so I feel like swearing has to be extra because in our language, the language doesn't sound that angry, and when you swear, it really sticks out. So for them to have it stick out, you really need to add some oomph on that.
For people who always sound like they mean business, when they mean business, it has to sound like they really mean business.
Yeah, you got to put some stank on that.
There you go. So during this, there's a fun little quip back and forth between Troutman and Rambo, because Troutman's like, "Aren't you hurting?" He's like, "Remember you taught us to ignore the pain. How's that working for you?" "Not good."
Yep. But now, it's like Rambo versus like 30 commandos,
and he gets explosive arrows.
Oh, and delivers
from the second one.
And delivers a clothesline from Arizona at one point.
Oh yeah. This like I said, like Brendan said, it takes forever to get up to like the crazy frenetic action of this movie, but when they get it going, they do not phone it in.
I think as you can tell that like how long it didn't take for us to get to these scenes, not a lot happens in a long period of time before this.
Yeah. But after that, we've got explosive arrows. They're dropping napalm depth charges from helicopters into caves.
Yeah, it looked like at one point he shot a guy so hard that an explosion came out of his ass.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Like he clearly, I think the idea was that he shot something that was behind him, but when he shot, the guy was like, like reacted like he was shot, and then there was an explosion behind him, and I was like, wait, what?
Oh, I think I remember that. I think the idea was that Rambo hit him and then it like blew up like a a canister or something behind him, or he hit him with like a grenade and it went through and then exploded, so he died double.
Just had to fart really bad right when he got shot.
Rambo
Arrow
manages-
versus helicopter. That's my note about those arrows.
Right. Well, that was probably it then. That was probably it, because the arrow probably went through him, killed, like he got shot with the arrow, but it went through him and exploded. That's what you said. He shot him so hard he exploded.
He is a real gentleman though, Stallone, because he allows Richard Crenna to get like 3 kills.
Right. Like, I mean, we want to make it believable.
Right. He also does the John McClane taunt, kind of, where somebody's dropped their walkie-talkie and they're like, "Who is this?" And he's like, "Your worst nightmare."
Your worst nightmare. They used that in the promotional material for this movie. Oh, it was delightful.
Oh, that's a trailer scene, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He gets bear hugged by a big fat Russian.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Again, these are just things that happen at this point.
Oh yes, and he's fighting him, and the guy is, like you said, he's basically kind of choking him out, but Rambo like slowly reaches up and pulls a pin out of the grenade on the guy's vest.
Yeah, and the guy's like immediately like, "Oh no, whoa!" And he's like freaking out.
So Rambo gets away and the guy explodes.
Not only does he explode, but right before that, he's like hung by the neck, clearly dies, and then blows up. It's just like a hat on a hat on a hat. And Troutman has the gall to at that point look at Rambo and say, "We did it, John," after he killed maybe 0.00004% of the people Rambo killed.
Well, he's got another chance coming up, because they do come out and like there's just a line of Russians. There's tanks, there's helicopters, and the colonel's on his PA on his like super nice helicopter saying, if you surrender, I will not hurt you. I only want to take you in as prisoners. And they're like, yeah, sure you do, pal. Yeah. They kind of look at each other, try to figure out a plan. Troutman says, "I think surrounding them is out," which I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. He's trying to keep the mood light.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's the Mujahideen to the rescue.
Yeah.
Because out of nowhere, like an RKO, the Mujahideen ride in like the cavalry and start fighting the Russians in their tanks and helicopters.
They have such like convenient timing, because we were seconds away from a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid moment right there.
Yes. There's a point where I think Troutman gets shot in the leg. Somebody gets shot in the leg with one of the guns from the helicopter, and it's but a mere flesh wound.
Yeah, a helicopter gun.
I was like, his leg would be obliterated.
It would be gone. It would have been great if it was Rambo, and then all the other Rambo movies, he just has like one fake leg.
He's a prosthetic leg for the rest of them.
But it does nothing to hinder him. Like he's still
no, nothing at all, because he continues his badassery, so much so that he plays chicken in a tank with the helicopter of the bad Russian colonel.
He also
wins.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine. Even though they both like literally collide into each other and blow up. He also holds on to a Molotov cocktail for I think a longer than you should be able to.
Well, you gotta. I guess the movie of logic there is that you have to throw it. The rag doesn't operate as a fuse. It's just an incendiary piece. So when you throw it and breaks the bottle, it'll go whoosh. But I think, yeah, if you burned it down enough, it would probably explode in your hand.
Yeah, I feel like he holds on to that for a very long time. Also, the cruel fate of irony is that he kills a Russian with a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of it. Where Rambo says he's gonna, he says basically that there's a voice that keeps on calling him down the road. That's where he's always been. Every stop he makes, he's making new friends, but he doesn't stay for long. He just turns around and he's gone again.
But maybe tomorrow,
he might want to settle down.
Maybe tomorrow, but until tomorrow though, he'll just probably keep moving on.
Yeah. Which is not an untrue statement to make about the Rambo movies that follow.
They do say to each other, Rambo and Troutman, they do say to each other, "I think we're getting soft."
Yeah.
And then it's dedicated to the people of Afghanistan, but that's not what it used to say.
No, it was the bold fighters, the Mujahideen.
And why is that a questionable thing to keep in the movie? That they might reason they might have changed it.
Because a lot of fighters who were involved with the Mujahideen later went on to become, Al Qaeda and Taliban.
So just a quick Google search, and the creators are like, no, let's move this around a little bit.
And it's funny. I saw this in theaters again, like when I was a kid, and then years later, I had always seen they would show First Blood on TV all the time. They would show Rambo First Blood Part 2 on TV all the time, like on TBS and stuff like that. And that was the one time in like the early 2000s, and I was like, why did they never play Rambo 3? All right, I'm gonna go rent it. And I went down to Blockbuster and rented it. And then I was like, oh right.
That's why.
Yeah. So.
And then Nathan, it ends with the fucking song, "You Ain't Heavy."
Cover.
Is it a cover? Okay.
Pretty sure it's a cover.
He's my brother. Which I wasn't expecting at the end of Rambo 3.
But I think it was because the idea was to show that there was a kinsmanship, a camaraderie between the U.S. and Afghanistan.
Which still exists to this day.
And the 80s were wild. That's all I gotta say.
Wild stuff, Ed.
Right. Easy. Wild and crazy. So anyhow, yeah, that's Rambo 3. Mm-hmm. The Dream Children. Oh no, Dream Masters. That's Rambo 3.
Hey, Freddy, get over there. I'm gonna fuck you up. Oh my god, please. Rambo in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Rambo versus Jason versus Freddy.
Oh, the movie would, if he had anything to do with producing it, the movie would be 7 minutes long.
He would just kill both of them
immediately.
Yeah.
And then it would just be a Rambo movie about him fighting some other foreigner.
So anyhow, well, on our scale, is this movie, is it worth a watch? Is it a drunk watch with friends? Are you going to attempt head trauma to forget it, or avoid it like the plague?
I will say that it was feeling like head trauma for a while. I'm not going to lie, but the last 45 minutes, I think, make up for it. So, you know what? Honestly, the plot of this movie does not matter a bit. Look how quickly it took for us to get through it. Just, if you don't care, just watch the last 45 minutes. So I'm going to say maybe I will split the difference just because the first half is such a nothing and the second half is a drunk watch. So yeah, somewhere in between.
Okay. Well, a lot of my friends like, trivia about history. And so I think this would be a really good drunk watch with friends for me, for sure. But all the other ones worth a watch every year. No matter how crazy they are.
I think the most recent one is close to this too for me. Just because I feel like the last half hour of the most recent one is ridiculous and crazy, but everything else is just kind of. I feel like the Rambo movie that came out like 15 years ago was better.
Oh, that one's a delight.
Yeah,
when they were long before they were talking about Rambo Last Blood, they released the movies on Blu-ray, and they did them as dual packs. So you get First Blood and Rambo, and on the other pack you get First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3.
Okay.
So I at the time I was like I don't know where I was. I only had like a few bucks, and I was like, which one do I buy? And I was like, First Blood and Rambo, of course.
I mean, yeah, you want the one with First Blood on it, regardless.
Yeah, and then if it either way, if it had gone Rambo and then Rambo First Blood Part 2, I would have absolutely still been just as happy. But you know, this one, like I said, it's the lesser of the bunch, but still fun. Anyhow, so that's Rambo 3. Don't I should probably do this since classic notes go bye-bye.
to tradition. And I
That's
guess
right.
since mine are on the computer, I'll just shut my computer off.
Toss it right out the window. Oh, Brendan, you're out. We're gonna cut to commercial. Stick around. We'll be right back, and we'll see if we can get Brendan situated with, I don't know, a new laptop or something, so the episode can continue.
What were they thinking?
Okay, so we did it, Brendan. We got you a new computer. You don't have to crumple up your notes.
Oh, well,
You
that
don't
makes sense. I mean, I'm out, a few $100, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back.
I mean, you could probably get like, a shredder, like a not like one for your computer, but like you can put your files from your computer into like this electronic shredder, and it'll shred it. Feel the same catharsis. But
so I turn it off and throw it out the window after the podcast.
Don't have to do that at all. Actually,
Oh,
you'll save so much money.
okay.
All
I'll think about it.
All right, I'm feeling a little feeling a little publicly funded, and
feeling a little low.
Yeah, so dropping down into our NPR voices, and as Brendan noted, feeling a little low, because it's now time for the low haiku. And Brendan, what is the low haiku?
Well, Nathan, the low haiku consists of 17 syllables, all of which are used to describe the movie we just talked about for a little while.
Okay. And the floor is to you, good sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I will begin with my haiku here. It's not Taliban. Look, some became Taliban. Rambo is good guy.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes,
You have a haiku as well for us.
I do.
Ooh.
Trained Black Ops killer. Could this work as a cartoon? Give it the green light. As I mentioned before, there was a cartoon.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they did.
And but
we're no longer publicly funded by the Chubb Group and viewers like you.
I thought you were about to go into That's All, Folks, and then I expect you to start rapping, because according to Space Jam: A New Legacy, that's what Porky Pig is known for.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's got the voice for it. He's got the speech impediment for it.
The movie is a bane of existence.
Abysmal. So, but we've had our say about Rambo 3, but we don't want you guys to think that we're the be all and end all. So much so that we have a little fun thing that we like to say around the offices here. What were they thinking? What is that thing, Brendan?
Well, the one thing
it's a big show. Sorry.
It's gonna be a big bad show tonight. Oh,
that's not what I used to think.
I used to think the song was, "It's gonna be a big bad show tonight on Raw."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, what if he goes to SmackDown though?" Anyway. Well, Nathan, actually, in fact, what we like to say is, "Don't take a word for us."
That's right. Do not take our word for it, or don't take our word for it. This movie, Brendan, he gave us numbers earlier on the production of it, and of course, I mean it's a big, dumb, stupid movie. So the critics probably hated it, like they always hate big, dumb, stupid movies.
Well, they didn't love it, but 40% of the critics liked it.
Oh, okay, inching up towards the 50 halfway point. Okay, all right. But I mean, Rambo has fans, man. This thing must be off the charts on the audience side, like 99% or something.
Well, certainly not that high. Very much on the charts. Only about 45% of the audience enjoyed this particular Rambo film.
Oh, okay.
But Nathan, I've got good news for you.
Oh, all right.
If you liked this movie, You may also like the following films: Ablaze, starring
Never.
Tom Arnold.
Never heard of it.
Fled,
I did.
which you told me was a coming soon one day, so I'm waiting.
Okay. It's on the radar again.
Another Stallone movie called Lockup.
Yeah, it was all right.
Bulletproof.
Yes, I did enjoy that.
And
8% with the critics. Good lord.
Yeah, I don't remember loving it, but it's
Saw
been
it
a
in
long
theaters.
time. And then of course a movie we already covered, Judge Dredd.
And I did enjoy.
I really like Dredd. I'll say that.
I love that way more for sure.
Yeah. Judge Dredd is a good like hate watch. Like it's we talked about it. I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah. You had to say about that. Yeah, go back and listen to that episode after you're done with this episode.
Please see Judge Dredd episode.
So okay, well let's jump in to see what the critics say. Brennan, why don't you lay down some truth for us?
All right. Well, let's see here. Keith Ulick of Yugo
Girl.
says, what's that?
You go, girl.
I don't want Hugo. Engages the plight of the Mujahideen with a humanizing doc-like approach, fascinating to witness all these years later when the ally/enemy tables have turned so drastically. The negative review.
Doc? Like, does he mean documentary?
Yeah, which I don't.
I didn't know. No.
Don't think this was documentary style. Maybe he means like document. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to write a letter to Hugo.
Well, Marilyn Eurechio from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette wrote, Rambo 3 should make a fortune because Stallone delivers with a vengeance. That was a positive review.
There you go. Well, I got a positive review here for you from Mike Massey of Gone with the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Says, if critics were to rate a film based on how sensational the main antagonist's death is, along with the main henchman, then this film would rank quite high indeed. 7 out of 10.
Okay, well, let's see what I got here. Hal Hinson, Washington Post. He didn't care for it, actually.
Oh.
And wrote, Rambo may in fact have outlived his usefulness. His moment may have passed.
Strap in, Hal.
Because
that was in
there's
2000.
more coming your way.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that was it says 2000, but maybe that's when their archives were uploaded to the internet.
Could have been. Either way, he's got 2 more coming. And probably more. Who knows? Let's see. Variety staff, who works at Variety, says, always at ground zero in the chaos is Rambo, gloriously, inhumanly impervious to fear and danger, whose character is inhabited by Stallone with messianic intensity. They basically treat him like a god. I can agree there. That's probably my last
actually, no, God would have mercy. He won't.
You're right. Sorry. They clearly weren't watching the movie then.
Right. Kathy Burke from the United Press International writes, mostly, Rambo 3 is one breathtaking sequence after another, with an absolutely mind-boggling scene with Rambo removing a spike from his side and then sealing the wound with flaming gunpowder. She gave it a positive review.
There we go. Shall we just go into the audience reviews?
Yes, let's.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start off with a very enthusiastic quick review here from Diego Zarque, who says, fantastic! I recommend to you! 5 stars.
Okay. Well, Peyton I did not have such enthusiasm. They wrote, boring vanity project, unfit for the Rambo name, barely any action. Falling asleep in the first 45 minutes.
I mean,
it's possible.
They're not wrong about the first 45 minutes. Muhammad A says, if only the propaganda was not so preposterous and self-serving. Hollywood lies. However, this is such a disgusting load of garbage as far as propaganda goes, and way too contemporary to get away with it, that I cannot help but vomit down its ugly neck. Ew. The fact is, historically, Rambo would be making nice with opium drug lords and terrorists and giving the USA an excuse to wage war against the people of Afghanistan based on lies and more lies. The USA went into Afghanistan to restart the opium industry and steal the resources in the mountains and secure an oil and gas pipeline. That is the ugly reality which turns this Rambo movie to puke. Exciting and action-packed with some poignant moments, but for anyone still trapped in the lie. But seen with the eyes of an informed and a decent human being in 2019, this movie should be seen for what it is, a pig trying to put lipstick on itself. 2 stars.
Good Lord. Someone's got some opinions.
Yeah,
Had some conspiracy theories.
Doesn't sound like it was a lot of information about the movie, but
no. Reverse M, which I'm assuming is Reverse Mario, which is a very devastating wrestling maneuver.
Oh, so would that just be Wario?
They write, almost exactly similar to the last installment, but this sequel proves that putting its titular character to any setting that fits its genre could still give a well-entertaining, action-packed package. 3 out of stars.
A well-entertaining, action-packed package.
Yeah.
Put it on the box.
Maybe get a thesaurus.
Yeah, if you have 2 similar words in a row, guys, start your sentence over. This is from Joe S. Well, I can only assume, even though it says S, it's probably just Joe Estevez because he's kind of stupid. He says, my least favorite out of the series because Sly barely had any lines. 4.5 stars.
For his least favorite.
Least favorite.
Every other one of them 5-star reviews.
Also, Rambo doesn't have fucking monologues. It's not. This character is one of his least talky characters. Right? Like, I don't remember Rambo having huge dialogue exchanges.
No, because he's supposed to be a quiet, tortured man who's only doing it because it's the absolute right thing to do. Yeah. My next one comes from Dan B, and I can only assume it's Dan Brown, author of The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, but this is very well written.
He writes, for an action movie and particularly a Rambo franchise, this movie was great. At least compared to the crap CGI action movies coming out today, everything you see is real. I had to look up the film location because it looked like Afghanistan. The only corny part was the opening setup. 4.5 out of stars.
Also, like, because Dan knows what Afghanistan looks like. Oh boy, Dan Brown's been to Afghanistan, guys. That's where he wrote his best work. He was probably upset, but I bet you he took off half a point because Stallone didn't have that great floppy hair that Tom Hanks did in The Da Vinci Code. All right, I think this will be my last one. This is from Kelly K, who I can only assume is Kelly Kelly, former WWE superstar.
ECW talent.
Yeah, ECW as well. Yet again, Stallone teaches us that Russians suck. 2 stars.
Wait, that sounded like it was a good review.
Yeah, I know, right? There was a Shyamalanian twist at the end there.
My last one is.
And then she danced. Sorry, I just want to mention. Forgot about that.
and Mike Knox covered her up.
Yeah.
My last one comes from Brian B. And I can only assume. What's that?
It's your buddy.
Yeah, I can only assume it's Brian Bonsall. As a punk rocker, I did not think that he would have this kind of a view, but he writes, this one is not good like the 2008 Rambo. 2.5 out of stars.
All right.
So well, there we go. That's, it's like I said, don't take our word for it. There was a mixed bag of reviews on the tomatoes as well. So we're done with that, and we are actually going to talk about the latest.
So I'm gonna turn off my computer.
No. We're not done.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, so just leave it up, and we're gonna actually talk about the dance craze sensation that's sweeping the nation. What you watching, bud? Where we discuss, things that we've been checking out the past week or so. So, Brendan, what you watching, bud?
Well, I mean, again, just keeping with the theme of Rambo. I watched the new Disney film Encanto. Because it also ends with an O.
Right.
That's how you tie it in. Of course, it's a beautiful movie. It's wonderful. It's about a family that lives in this little town, and they all have like magic. It's almost like they're all kind of like superheroes. They all have like a different kind of power.
Mhm.
Except for one, the main character, actually voiced by oh my god, and I can't think of her name on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's the very serious cop.
Oh, Rosa?
Rosa, voiced by the actress who plays Rosa on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And it's really sweet and obviously gorgeously animated. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's by the 95 minutes or so. And John Leguizamo pops up. He's great. And of course, Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote all the songs because that's what he does now. So guys, dig in. Encanto. It's one of the best animated movie nominees. It's really good.
Two Girls. I've definitely seen it a couple times.
I mean, it's great, right?
It is good. It is good. Yeah. As for me, I'm on the other end of the spectrum.
So you watch pornography.
Well, I mean, that's a given. But I can't keep recommending that every week. It's like almost something new. No, I watched. I found a new series, new to me series on Tubi. After I watched a Tubi ad on Tubi, I watched a show called Popcorn Fodder, which is like a movie of the week type show, kind of like the old Elvira used to be, or Joe Bob Briggs, where they're not riffing on the movie itself. You get to actually just see the movie and maybe riff it yourself, and then they do host segments where they give you like little interesting tidbits about the film trivia, but because they're tidbits that are interesting.
Well, of course.
Yeah. And so I watched an episode today called The Devil Times 5, which was a Killer Kids movie. And some cheesy B movies, C, Z, D, all the way down to whatever movies. If you like that sort of stuff and you've seen, Mystery Science Theater and Riff Tracks to Death, check out Popcorn Fodder. There's you'll at least get some interesting tidbits and grainy footage.
And tidbits that are interesting.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. What about your buddy?
Yeah, Montrose.
Montrose is kicking it.
Yeah, old school apparently.
Oh, yes, actually. Of course. One of my favorite films.
Right. I don't think it's one of his, but anyway, I'll get him.
It's not one of mine either.
Okay, good. So you like kicking it old school?
I've never actually seen it, Montrose. I just wanted to sound cool.
It's quite offensive.
Oh, okay.
I had to watch it once. It was I avoid it like the plague.
Oh, well, spoiler alert for that episode, Montrose.
Right. I don't think I'd want to be on that one. Anyway, but if you are done listening to this podcast and have had your fill of terrible movies for the time being, you can head on over to my YouTube page, Montrose Milkington TV, where I discuss the grappling, the wrestling professional, if you will. And then we can also be friends on Facebook in the Facebook group Montrose Milkington III Esquire and Friends. And finally, you can tweet at me on your Twitter devices at Montrose III. That's the number 3 RD. Thank you. More later.
Thank you, Montrose.
You're welcome.
You are a friend to all.
Yeah. I'm a blessing in your life.
And of course, you know where to find us. But if you don't, I'll tell you. We are on all podcatcher apps. If there's a podcatcher app out there that you like to listen to and we're not there somehow, let us know and we'll be there. You be there.
You be there.
But yeah, do that. And then we're also our home base, of course, is Age of Radio.
Big time.
You go to ageofradio.org/whatwerethéthinking. You can find us on the social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. WWTT Podcast across those 3 platforms if you want to check us out. We're at patreon.com/WWTT Podcast. We got lots of stuff you can sign up there. You can sign up for there. You can pick movies. You can, you can make us watch shit. There's a couple of exceptions, but I mean, I think they're pretty obvious.
Yeah, we've mentioned them a few times.
We've mentioned them a few times.
And we'll just shoot you right down anyways.
We'll tell you right at the time.
There's only what, 2 of them, isn't there?
That you know of. I'm sure there's a couple others I could think of that you'd be like, no. But 2 in the public, I think that most people know of and would know not to pick. And of course, I'm talking about Ghostbusters 2.
Ecto Boogaloo.
Right. Back in the habit. Oh, I lost myself. We're also on Redbubble and TeePublic. You can get your what were they thinking and paid to fart shirts there.
Paid to fart.
Maybe a making sandwiches shirt. We'll see what happens.
You'd be just a dancing couple and underneath making sandwiches.
There you go. Good idea. That's pretty much it, I think. So yeah, that's our plugs.
Okay.
But Nathan, I guess I would ask you questions at this point about the movie, Nathan, but I mean, I guess we're done, so I'll just shut off my computer.
No. Ah, did it. What was he thinking?
It's a long road when you're on your own, and it hurts when they tear your dreams